Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Parker's Tutorials. This week, I'm showing you how to mod out a Nerf gun and make it a retro, futuristic, badass gun. So let's get started. For this project, the first thing I did was decide on where I wanted to place the LEDs on the blaster. I then used a breadboard to prototype parallel circuits for the LEDs. This will make sure that if one LED goes out, the rest won't go out. I decided to place a red one on either side of the blaster and a big green LED on the front. I figured I could use the existing 6 AA batteries that the blaster ran on to power the LEDs, so I wouldn't have to use a separate battery, which turned out to work just fine and not affect the performance of the blaster. I used a drill to make holes for the LEDs and then disassembled the blaster, keeping track of all the screws. Luckily, the gun only used one type of screw, so I didn't need to keep track of which screw went where. Then I used wires and resistors and soldered all the LEDs in place. I had to find a way to cram all the wires in place without hindering any parts from moving, which was a little bit of a challenge. I used a bunch of hot glue to hold the LEDs in place as well as all the wires, and once you've tested the circuit, you can begin to reassemble the blaster. I only assembled the main body because it will make painting easier. Once you've double and triple checked that the circuits work perfectly, it's time to add some paint. I disassembled some parts and hot glued them to cardboard so they wouldn't get ruined by falling over or tilting. I first painted everything with 2 layers of primer. Then I went over everything with a couple layers of satin black spray paint. The key is to use short bursts of paint and constantly move back and forth to get an even coat and prevent dripping. Also, make sure everything is dry before picking everything up and handling them. You can use a hairdryer to speed up the drying process if you want. Once the paint was fully dried overnight, I assembled the gun back together. It looked pretty good at this stage, but I think we can go further. Using painter's tape and paper, I meticulously masked out the entire blaster, minus a few parts that I thought would look good accented a different color. I applied 2 layers of gold spray paint and let it dry for a few hours. After it was dry, I carefully removed the tape and paper. Looking sweet. To create a weathered look, I spray painted some spray paint into a small dish. Using a wad of paper towels, I dabbed the towel into wet paint and brushed it all over the gun. I made sure to do some extra weathering in places that would be most touched and brushed up against while during use. I then did the same thing using black spray paint on the gold parts of the blaster. I used some teal enamel paint to create some accents on the blaster as well. Luckily, it still works despite the paint job. I didn't end up painting an interior piece that kind of shows during use, but I didn't want to hinder the internal mechanisms, so I wanted to be careful. And there you have it. Make sure to post and share your own projects. Well everyone, I hope you liked this project of modding out a Nerf gun. I'll see you next week with a brand new project, and in the meantime, if you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, press the little bell so you're notified of all my future uploads. Alright everyone, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!